Jan, it's been about 2 weeks, I think exactly 2 weeks since, more people were allowed back into the office. Of course, working from home doesn't really doesn't really apply for both of us, but how have your friends actually adapted to working from home?
Actually, they like it, because of the fact that they have time. It is also, of course, for parents, they have time to tend to their kids as well. And then for, my friends who are very particular about the food that they eat, they can prepare their food and then they can squeeze in some time for exercise as well.
Well, that's an interesting point. Well, the Straits Times actually did a survey of nearly 1,800 people on working from home, and findings showed that 8 out of 10 workers now prefer to work from home, like Haryanto's friends, or have flexible working arrangements.
Just 1 in 10 wanted to return to the office full-time, while the rest said they were already back in the office before the government announced that more employees will be allowed to return to the office from September 28th.
And when asked about their preferred work arrangements, 4 in 10 wanted to split their time between the office and their home, while slightly more than 4 in 10 said they wanted to continue working from home.
The top complaint among Singaporean workers about having to return to the workplace was the resumption of their daily commute. They're also concerned about the safety of their work environments and afraid of being exposed to COVID-19.
And when it comes to working from home, the top complaint was working longer hours or doing work outside their usual office hours. Some also said distractions from children or family members were an issue, while others pointed out that it was difficult to convince their bosses of their productivity. And just under half of the respondents felt that working from home helped them to save money, while 7 in 10 said working from home improved their mental health.
People were initially not as receptive to the idea of working from home, but the Straits Times survey found that 8 in 10 people want to work from home now. Now let's delve into this with Mr. Alvin Goh, Executive Director of the Singapore Human Resources Institute. Hi, Alvin. Alvin, what factors do you think account for the mindset shift?
I think number one is that people are more used to working from home now, considering that we went into circuit breaker since 7 of April officially. So the last 6-7 months has been a new norm for most employees and employers to be working from home. And also, I think over this short period of time, the use of technology in replacement of the manual processes and procedures have also enabled a lot of the workforce to actually be more productive from home as well.
The survey focused primarily on employees, but what's your sense from employers or businesses? Are they managing well with staff, mainly working from home, and are they able to sustain this arrangement for the long haul?
Yeah, I think for organizations itself, it's also dwelling onto the business leader that, hey, look, it's actually quite all right even to allow my employees to work from home. And to some extent, they themselves are also enjoying the fact that they are able to spend a little bit more time with their families and still getting things done from the home base itself. Of course, at the end of the day, it really depends on the type of leadership qualities or attributes that the organization, business leaders themselves have, be it a few and touchy type of leader who likes to see people working in their workplace, or those that are a little bit more, to some extent, I would call them more technological savvy, and the fact that they do not need to commute to the workplace also helps in that process of change that we are seeing today.
Alvin, I just want to touch on the part where you talked about attributes. Our latest COVID-19 measures allows for a hybrid working arrangement where workers can return to the office for up to half their working time. Do you see this model taking off in Singapore on a permanent basis? And what attributes should an employee or even an employer have for it to be successful?
I think definitely I'm seeing this more towards a more permanent trend going forward, whereby organizations will adopt either a hybrid model, as what our government is suggesting, to a more permanent role, whereby allowing our employees to actually continue to work from home on the longer term. And we are seeing some of the top companies here, the Fortune 500 companies, are allowing their employees to continuously work from all the way to end 2021. So I do not see this a problem. Coming back to the attributes of an organization itself, I think for employees, we ourselves must be clearly be motivated to want to work from home, because as we know, when the home is also the workplace itself, we have to juggle a lot of matters from home itself, from home-based learning, helping our kids, being caregivers, and so forth. So the importance for employees is that we need to stick to a schedule. All right. If we are supposed to, official working hours are from 9 to 5, and make sure that we are really at our so-called desk at a appointed time to actually stick to the schedule. All right. And I think it takes a lot of motivation and as well discipline for employees to actually want to continue to do that, to be effective and to be productive as well. For employees themselves, I think it's important to have regular conversations with our workforce to really understand the pertinent challenges going forward on a timely basis itself. Somewhat like a check-in to understand that, hey, look, is there any problems that can quickly help resolve so that we pin the issues right down there and then, rather than letting certain things to fester, which then derail the whole entire commuting or working from home process.
Right. Well, that sounds pretty promising, actually. But right now, Alvin, the idea of work from home is pretty limiting. You're sometimes at the office or at home. So how can the hybrid model evolve in Singapore? Maybe satellite offices or co-sharing workspaces, perhaps.
I'm also seeing people actually, or rather, small little teams gathering in some certain public places. All right, to actually share thoughts, quick thoughts, sharing notes, and then getting the items agenda resolved, and then going back home are also somewhat also taking place. Take for example a company that I was actually doing some advisory work with, and they were telling me that they have allowed their small little teams who gathered around in the northeast of Singapore to come together to quickly talk over certain matters over at Starbucks or Coffee Bean, and then from there resolving and then dispersing from home. I think there's novel ways of actually working.
Right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Alvin. It was a pleasure to speak with you. We've been speaking with Alvin Goh, who's the Executive Director of the Singapore Human Resources Institute.
The link to the Straits Times' survey findings is in the description below if you're watching us on YouTube.